I'd like to introduce Annie from England, who has multiple sclerosis. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning.
Could you tell us when you were diagnosed with MS?
Golly, the year was, well, I was diagnosed 30 years ago, so that would have been, golly, I can't even think what year that was.
That's fine. How old were you, Annie?
I was very late 20s.
Right.
About 29. But I had problems with my right eye from my teens onwards, and it transpires that was probably the MS.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had it for quite a long time. I'm 52 now.
Right. And how did it impact on you at that time, being diagnosed?
Well, they told me at the time, actually, that I had a viral infection. And so I just took it that was it. But they had actually written down on my notes that it was MS. And it wasn't until 10 years later, when I had quite a serious relapse, that they scanned me, an MRI scan, and then they said to me, yes, it's as we knew, you have MS.
Mm-hmm.
But they said they didn't tell me because it would have spoiled the quality of my life, and I'm glad they didn't, actually, because I would have been stressed out. As it happens, I had 10 great years not worrying about anything health-wise.
Mm-hmm. That's always a blessing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And were you offered any medication when you had this other relapse?
Yes, I think I was taking steroids at the time, some kind of steroid. I can't remember what it was called,
mm-hmm.
but that was it, really.
And how bad was your MS then?
Well, compared to others, not that bad, but I had no feeling from my waist downwards on the left-hand side. Mm. And so when I sat down, I couldn't feel that I was sitting down. I amused my friend one day. I went to her house and I sat down on the chair, as I thought, and I actually ended up on the floor, and she couldn't stop laughing because I couldn't feel the chair, you know. Mm. But that kind of passed after some months, I think, and now I just have the left side is a lot weaker than my right side.
Yeah. So have you had any other symptoms other than those that you've just told us about? Right.
Well, after I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, mm-hmm. I went into another relapse. I don't know what other word to use, really. So I haven't been great. I told the doctor, and he wanted me to take a 10-day course of steroids, which I did. And what's happened, I'm feeling much, much better now. Mm-hmm. But he did say to stop taking the LDN. So I did that, and I will start that up next week, I think. But the consequence of that relapse is that my left hand is the motor skills, and it is quite poor now. I can still use it, but it's poorer than it was. Mm-hmm. But I'm still walking.
That's a big deal. So how did you hear about LDN?
I went to my doctor about something or other, and I said, I am fed up. He said, why are you using that stick? Because I use a stick sometimes because I'm a bit wobbly from time to time. And I said, well, I've got MS. He said, don't give me that. He said, go and Google LDN and then come back and tell me if you want to use it. He's a very nice man, actually. And so I Googled it, and I was quite impressed by what I read, so I thought, I'll take this stuff, and so I've been taking it ever since. So I suppose it must be between 6 and 9 months at least, maybe a year I've been taking it for.
Well, you've got a very good GP there, haven't you?
Yes, he's great.
Also, these days, though, you can actually take LDN and steroids at the same time. So you needn't be afraid of restarting your LDN.
Oh, that's interesting, because it does say you shouldn't stop taking it, and I was a bit concerned that I would be doing damage.
No.
You know, but anyway, I seem to be okay. But as I say, I'm going to start it, well, perhaps I'll start it up tonight now.
Well, I really hope that your motor skills come back. A lot of people who have told me who have relapses whilst taking LDN, they find that the relapses aren't as severe, they don't last as long, and they recover more or less fully from attacks. So that would be interesting to see, if that is the case with you.
Yes. I'll let you know, actually.
What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
My view is you've got absolutely nothing to lose. And I don't know if it's doing me any good. Psychologically, it's helped me tremendously. There must be something good in it, I'm sure, because I push myself to the limits, and it is allowing me to push myself to the limits, So I would encourage anybody to try it. Just try it. And see. If it doesn't suit them, that's fine, but I haven't had any adverse effects. I'm just very happy to take, I call it the stuff. When I go to the doctor, I always ask for the stuff.
Did you have any introductory side effects when you first started?
Yes, I had tremendous headache. I'm prone to migraine anyway, and I think apparently that's part of the MS thing. I have a migraine every month, and it lasts for about 3 days. So I just assumed that taking the LDN kind of just may have triggered something. But I had really bad headache for several days, nearly a week actually, and then it went, and I've been okay ever since. I still get the monthly migraine, but
do you?
Yes, yeah. I spoke to consultants about it, and they said it's something to do with the MS. People with MS can get migraines. We can also get rather depressed, apparently, but I'm never depressed, thank God.
Yeah, awful. Is there anything else you would like to add, Annie?
I don't think so. Just that I don't know if the LDN is doing anything, but I think it must be, because I've had this now for a very long time, this condition. And, as I say, I'm 62 and I'm doing really, really well. I had to do a bit of walking this morning, which I wasn't expecting. I had to put my car into the garage and it had to stay there. So I had to go and get a bus to come home and walk from the bus stop. And I was able to do it with my stick, but I don't think I would have done that a year ago. So I'm thinking the LDN is helping somehow.
Brilliant. That is very good. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us.